We start every one of these programs at Rise USA in the same way with the benediction. And there is no better way to start this than Alan Kirkan coming back to the stage and leading us with our invocation. We will not start with the benediction. We will begin with the invocation.
Thank you. And I just got to say, Jill and I have not been vaccinated. And we both had COVID. We survived just like we knew we would. And all we got to say is it's really weird when they tell you can't come in here because you haven't been vaccinated. Yeah, but we had the thing. Right now, I just want to go to the Lord in prayer to bless all we're going to do today. Let's bow our heads. Dear Lord, we just thank you so much for being here and being in our presence. We know you're here because there are definitely more than one or two gathered. And Lord, we just ask that you'll bless our nation. Bless all that's being said and sung and done here today. That'll be to your glory, but also to just rebuilding this country and making it great. Lord, we just thank you. In Jesus' name we pray this. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Alan. This is where I typically lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance, but today I've got a special treat. If you would please stand. Scarlett Radke is going to say the Pledge of Allegiance for us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Scarlett Radke, Mitchell, South Dakota. I think she's winning an encore, curtain call. All right. Who's my national anthem singer today? I see Brynn Marie. Please stay standing. Back to the stage. With assistance, Brynn Marie.
Smiley. Who's looking at that? What? He's not shy.
So proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets wrangling, the balls bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you so much, Brynn Marie. You may be seated if you like. You can stand all day if you like, because guess what? We've got Keystone City Park until tomorrow morning at 12:01 a.m. I don't think I'm going to be here at 11:59. I'm just saying. First of all, I want to say thank you to the community of Keystone. You know, people talk about Mount Rushmore, and this has actually been a lot of fun for me. People talk about Mount Rushmore, and they talk about Rapid City, and Rapid City is a great little town in America. But how about for Keystone, South Dakota, the home of Mount Rushmore? Let's give it up for this community and what they're doing for us and America. And in that vein, we've got a few of the finest. We're going to talk about the importance of the county sheriff and constitutional counties here today. And this sheriff's department has gone out of their way to come to me and say, Trent, we want to help you. We want to protect our citizens and protect private property rights. Everything that we stand for has come to fruition right here with the Pennington County Sheriff's Department. If you get the opportunity to walk up and shake their hand, say thank you. But right now, let's just at one time say how much we appreciate Pennington County Sheriff's Department. My name is Trent Loos. I'm proud to be a part of this Arise Tour. My wife, Kelly, is here today. We have our youngest daughter, youngest of three. It's truly faith, family, and freedom. We ranch in central Nebraska, and when Robert David Steele asked me if I wanted to be a part of this, there was no discussion. It was like, we just got to find a way to make it happen. And we're finding a way, and my wife Kelly is just busting her butt to keep cows and sows and horses in check and daughters in check. One's 16, one's 18, you know the rest of that story. But it's been fantastic. And we got 90 stops, and I think we're on number 36.
Wow.
And I want to repeat something that I said earlier in Cowboy Church. It's very clear that we come here because we want to partner with you. We don't expect anybody to come to us. We want to go to where the people are. And I know there's people here from Florida, from New Jersey, from California, and we're going to continue to take that spirit and drive this nation back to God and country, and we're going to drive it back to constitutional counties, faith, family, and freedom, just like this book in my pocket told us that we need to do. And we're going to make sure, this is the most important thing we're going to make sure of, no matter who walks in and out of the Oval Office, the people in Washington, D.C. are going to know that this nation is driven, as the Founding Fathers set forth, from the grassroots up. It's from the county to the state to the federal government, and we are going to put them in their place and make sure that we get you empowered in your county to take the country back. And it just so happens that's exactly how we're going to start this program, because I was here in Rapid City at the phenomenal Elks Theater in March, and we were conducting a meeting with the American Stewards of Liberty for the Biden Executive Order 30 by 30, which I'll talk about later, but it's another one of those land grabs that we've been hearing about and talking about, where the federal government wants to control 63% of the United States landmass so they can control access to your food, fiber, pharmaceuticals, and fuel. And there was this beautiful young lady sitting in the front row that just started glowing, and it was hard for me as the MC to keep control of the meeting because she was on fire and she wanted to go make a difference. And then I learned later that she's a local small business owner right here in the Rapid City area, and now representing this area in the state Senate. Ladies and gentlemen, your hometown welcome committee, Senator Julie Frye-Meuller.
Thank you all very much. It's an honor to be here today in front of you. I did meet Trent. It was April 20th, not in March. I had to. It was my birthday, and I spent it meeting you. Yeah, it was a special day, if you guys know what April 20th is. 420. Yeah. But I'm a twin, and my twin sister and I, and we went, and my mother and husband, we all went out for dinner. We said, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to go hang out at the Elks Theater and listen to this 30 by 30 land grab. Oh my gosh, it is such the narrative that we've been putting up with all across the country for years. It's just, we don't pay attention to it till it actually gets close and hits us. And the complacency that we've had to allow it to get this far is what we have been talking about a lot in some of the groups we go to. And it's amazing to see all of you here. Thank you so much for coming. And look at this patriotism. And I'm sure every one of us, with all the Biden shirts around here, we all know President Trump is our president. He's the best. You guys just gave me goosebumps again. The vaccine song did as well. And the 4-year-old. Anyway, you know, what can we do? Coming here and celebrating is wonderful. But what can you do when you get home? We've all known forever that they've been taking over our schools. We've been politically active for years. But when we're the same faces you see in front of the school board complaining and bringing factual evidence to the school board, if we're the same 3 or 4 people every time, they don't care. But you come with 100 people, new people, take over your school board, we're gonna stop the hate that these kids feel for their country. It's terrible. We had a meeting last Thursday night, and it ended up being 4 hours instead of 2, but they had found papers from Congress in January of 1963 with this agenda. 1963, that's when I was born. And they've had this agenda ever since. So I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I do want to thank you all for coming. I do want you to know that when I met Trent and we talked about this land grab, for some of you that are in the area, we have a Hill City sawmill up in Hill City, of course, and that's 1,000 people in that town. And the sawmill employed 120 people and had 12 different crews. Well, because the National Forest has been limiting the logging of which they can do for the past so many years, they shut down the sawmill. And that's part of this land grab. I firmly believe it's part of this land grab. But who's going to take care of our forest up here? Who's going to log it? We absolutely appreciate these people in Hill City at the sawmill that have lost their jobs now. We don't want to turn into California with forest fires everywhere. And we need to stop. I mean, this is the National Forest telling us what we have to do, not take care of our forests. So we can't lay down and just take that. And that place, unfortunately, is going up for auction, I think, in the next month and a half or something. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm still trying to work with people and some of the county commissioners to say, no, we don't want that shut down. It's not too late. It's not been sold. We had a problem. I don't know how much time I have. Just 5 minutes. It's just so you know, we have our voices to use. We need to use them. We need to organize and use them and tell people, no, we don't want that to happen, and let's get a plan and move on that plan. But a few of us can't do it alone. So hopefully, I'm sorry, I forgot about, I didn't mean to not turn around. But you guys, let's work together, find people, even if you're in different states. We're working with a couple of different legislators in other states to try and work on bills that will jointly help a lot of us in the Midwest. But I have a question. This is going off the rails a little bit. How many of you actually know who your legislators are in your districts, in your home? You actually know, not your U.S. delegation, who your legislators are. So not a whole bunch of you. And all I'm saying is, don't assume you're a red state. Check and see how we vote. Check us out. Don't just listen to what we say. Do your research, check us out, and make sure we're voting the way you expect us to vote on different issues. So radical justice reform is another thing coming in the MacArthur grant. I don't know if some of you have heard about that or not, but pay attention to what we're doing in the judicial system. That's not good either. Again, as patriots, as fellow patriots, and Sheriff Mack is here somewhere. I met him a month ago. Where are you? Hi, how are you? We had a nice talk, and I've met his cousin, Mark Lamb, who's the young Joe Arpaio, when I went down to El Paso, Texas to visit the wall. That was an experience too. because we have 9 Indian reservations here in South Dakota, and we talked about the infiltration of drug cartel that have been infiltrating the reservations. So there's so many different things that we have to look out for and watch out for. But let me tell you today, to relax and to enjoy, fellow patriots, and know that there's so many other people out there that care what's going on in our country, and just ask you, please, from the heart, I'm asking you, please get involved. Please don't come up with an excuse that I got to go take my kids to soccer, or we got piano. Please don't come up with an excuse not to do something. We have children. We have grandchildren, and it's our job to make sure they have the freedoms that we have. It's our job. So please, please get involved. It's not too late if we keep trying. Thank you.
Julie Frye-Meuller, any idea why I thought that was the perfect way to start this day? Thank you, Julie. Absolutely. I just want to quickly give one little tidbit. She mentioned the Hill City the Hill City sawmill. It did close that week that we had that meeting, which, by the way, Julie, that was April 20th, not May or March. Just so you know. And Jim Nyman owns that Hill City sawmill, and he was at our meeting in Sundance on Friday evening, and we were talking about what Julie just brought up. It's not about preserving only the economy of Hill City. It's about managing that resource. And right now, because we have federal government not doing their job and managing the land, the mortality of the forest is outpacing the growth. And that is what leads to these catastrophic fires. And it's because we're so ill-informed in history. We just don't understand that the reason we have America the Beautiful is because we've managed these resources. So what I think we ought to do at this moment is take a look back in history, not only at forest management and land management, but the motivation behind the people and what it is that the people have withstood and endured. And it just so happens that we have a guy with us that you might recognize. I'm going to call him Lincoln Bob.
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our forefathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now, we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met here on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of it as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate. We cannot consecrate. We cannot hallow this ground. The brave men living and dead who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which those who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Bob Jackson Minor portrays Abraham Lincoln. And I thought that I was pretty good at working with people and handling the situation. Unless you have walked Mount Rushmore with Abraham Lincoln and need to keep him on a schedule, you have no idea what herding cats is all about. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Jackson Minor, one more time. By the way, it wasn't any easier in Deadwood to get him on the bus either. So, all right. With that, John Petersen, if you could make your way over here. John's joining us for the first time right here. We call him a futurist, and I told him, I said, I want to see the future, but I want the future to include a solution. He's the president and founder of the Arlington Institute. Ladies and gentlemen, John L. Petersen.
Thanks, Trent. Hello, my friends. I'm a futurist, and I would like to, in the 10 minutes that I've got, walk you out into the next 5 to 7 years and give you an idea about the kinds of things that are coming this way. Now, first of all, we're in the middle of what easily is the biggest transition, the biggest extraordinary shift in the history of this planet. And let me give you some details and some data points as we go downstream, because what's going to come out of this is a new human and a new world. And it's going to be much sooner than you expect. So data point number 1. Our solar system is moving into a different area of space. And it's different quality. It's like driving an airplane through a cloud. And it has different energy, and it has different characteristics. What the scientists say that are at the fringy edge of science now, they say everything is electric. The whole universe is electric. And if you think about it, and you work your way down to what you know about atoms and molecules and how they stick together, and the protons and electrons, that's all electric and magnetic. And so if you raise that up in a large scale, what you find out is that when the sun and the solar system go through the middle of this new cloud, it's got whole different energetics about it, and it affects the sun. And the sun does things differently than it's ever done before. Now, what scientists are seeing for the first time, and this is not mainline science, this is the guys that are out in front, and that are looking at this in a different way. What they're seeing is that the sun is doing things that they haven't seen for 200 years. And it's sending off different kinds of energy. And that different kind of energy is driving the climate change. It's not human beings, it's not CO2, it's changes on the sun. And what's the net effect of it is, there's a lot of science coming out of Russia now and other kind of places that'll tell you definitively that this is not going to get hot, it's going to get cold. And we're entering into a period of time, maybe 40 to 60 years, when it's going to be much colder than it is right now. And so the whole idea that it's humans that are driving this is really, really fallacious. The other thing that's happening is that there's energy coming out of the center of the galaxy that we've never seen before. Waves of energy. And what that energy is doing, again, the scientists out at the fringy edge are saying, is that it's activating dormant strings of DNA. Those of you who've studied any of this know that the scientists will tell you that 97% of their DNA is junk DNA, and that's because they don't understand what it is. And what I'm telling you is that what it looks like is that this new energy that's coming downstream is activating the DNA, and it is allowing an evolution of human beings to new capabilities, all kinds of things. There are people who are generating, having telepathy. I mean, if you live with somebody, I can tell when my wife is going to say something, 2 seconds beforehand, and I don't know if that's coming from the middle of the galaxy or not, but I don't know, that there's something that's really unusual that's happening here in terms of this evolution of humans. That's point number one. Point number two. We're on the edge of being exposed to and becoming aware of the larger community that exists in this part of the world, and not the world, but the galaxy. The Pentagon, if you've been following these things, is now saying that UFOs are real, and there are people inside of the Pentagon who've been studying this stuff for decades, and I know some of them. And they may not come out right now and say they may be entities from somewhere else, but I'm telling you, they're thinking about it. And what's happening is this is disclosure. It's the beginning. It's the crack, the wedge into the system that is going to open up in the time that we go forward in the next half dozen years. The very real possibility, it's not a possibility because I know from having been inside of the government in places that this is very real, that this planet is being visited by others from other places, and as this starts to expand, it is going to raise all kinds of questions, very fundamental questions about the role of our government in the past and what they've kept secret and where they got the money for all of this and what our future is and what our past has been and how, where we came from. It's going to be very structural. It's huge in terms of its potential implications. That's point number two. It's going to be a big change. Now, point number three is that something we all know about, this COVID business. What's happening is that there's a large, long-term, they've been setting this up for years. It's a huge kind of trend that's been going to set this up so that the powers that be who could hang on could control the situation. And so what they're doing is, whether it's with technology or whether it's injections or whether it's through the internet or everything, they want to control who you are, where you go, what you say, what you think, and exactly, and your biology, what you are. And so there's two trends that come out of all of this. Two big trends, and one of them is about technology. It's called technocracy. And that means that there's a future out here that's a kind of a dystopian future where everything is driven by the technologists who are driving it. And you all know about Google and Facebook and all of these kinds of things who are controlling what you see and what you hear. There's another track that comes out of this, and this is the extraordinary and wonderful one, which is the emergence of this new human. And this new human starts to see themselves differently. The basic thing, on one side over here, you have fear and control. And on this side over here, what it is all about is about love, and it's about freedom. And it's about a set of people and a bunch of people who see themselves in a fundamentally different way. They understand that they have personal sovereignty, that they get to decide how they do with their body and with their life. It's not the government. It's not their family. It's not their church. It's not whatever. It's they get to decide. And once you do that, you start to see the world in a whole different way. And what comes out of this, all the indications suggest, is this emergence of this new human, that are basically, it's about who they are, not what they've done. And so I suggest to you, it doesn't make any difference whether you got a master's degree or what kind of job you had or what you did in the government or, what church you go to. I don't really care. The future for the people who are going to be the basis and the progenitors of this new world that emerges, it's about who you are. And it's about who you are in your essence. And it's whether you're about love and compassion and forgiveness and beauty and all of those kinds of things. And that's what's emerging out of the side of this. And that's what we're all about and what we're doing here. We're in the middle of affecting this fundamental change that's going to a new world. And out of that is going to come a new human. And we're all going to be part of that. Thank you.
John L. Petersen. Truth bomb or two right there, I reckon you would say. I did just want to add that we asked people to understand science. They don't know whether the center of the earth is hot or cold. Another scientific fact that nobody wants to talk about is we shut down an oil well in Los Angeles 40 years ago because it was depleted. And today it's got more oil in it than when we started taking oil from it. How about that little truth bomb? And one other thing, Oklahoma State University did a study a while back and asked folks if they wanted to have any DNA in their food or be DNA free. 80% said we want no DNA in our food. That's problematic. All right, with that, the guy who I'm going to introduce next is obviously never loaded a market hog, or you wouldn't fondly carry a pig around with you all of the time. But I've been watching him do it for now 8 weeks. But more important than beyond the pig, it was the vision, setting in a basement, that we need to go out to the people, much like the circuit riders that we talked about in Cowboy Church. And the only reason, there's only one guy in America, probably on the planet, that could have said, yeah, we can go to 117 days on the road, 90 stops, and 48 states. The only guy I know that is naive enough to think you can do it, Robert David Steele.
Well, Trent, I haven't collected from a boar either. Trent's a master. This tour is the way it is because God gave me Trent Loos. And he is the man who's picked all of these places. He is the man who's connected with all of you. He is the man whose hand I have held as I have found Jesus in the heartland. The heartland is America. And as Thomas Jefferson said, the cities have become cesspools of evil. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, but I am heartened when President Trump said the best is yet to come. I believe he was right. And today is the beginning of the best is yet to come. Now I'm going to do 2 presentations today. Today I'm going to do kind of a big overview in under 10 minutes. And this afternoon I'll do something maybe a little bit longer with slides, 6 slides. And the 2 together will be my presentation today. I think we all know now about my past as a spy. I created the Marine Corps Intelligence Agency. I'm a top nonfiction reviewer. I know a lot of stuff. The three big things that we're dealing with, thank you.
Here's the good news. I'm not pulling you off. I'm getting you louder.
All right. Can you hear me now? Howard Dean, eat your heart out. All right, I apologize for those of you. Where shall I start? At the beginning. All right. Now I'll start with the best is yet to come. This is the beginning of the best is yet to come. Now we all know we've got some big problems, and it's been my blessing to have been a spy, to have created our nation's newest national intelligence agency, the Marine Corps Intelligence Activity, back in 1888, my former life. I'm sure I'm reincarnated. The crickets are glad I'm gone. And then I became a top nonfiction reviewer And you can find all of my reviews. In fact, bigbatusa.org, where you can also donate. We need gas money. And I will be back at the bucket from 12 to 2 and then from 4 to 6, doing pictures which don't cost you a penny. But I very quickly realized that we needed to do election reform. And I wrote a book, Election 2008, Lipstick on the Pig. And I understood that election fraud was how Wall Street gets a crooked Congress, which allows Wall Street to steal $100 trillion from all of you through naked short selling and other crimes. It also allows Wall Street to launder $100 trillion over the past 20 years from trafficking in women and children and drugs and so forth. Now and then I'll just give you the last thing is satanic pedophilia. People weren't ready for this. We're losing 800,000 to 1 million kids every year in the United States of America. We're losing 8 million to 10 million across the world every year. Satanic pedophilia and the blackmail of Congress people with children whose minds have been fractured that are then captured on video having sex with the congressman or woman. I don't know why I just thought of Hillary Clinton. It's a horrible, horrible thing. Everything is connected. Now, here's the good news as I move into kind of my faith, family, and freedom close. I can tell you as a former spy who's also had top NSA clearances, crypto clearances, I'm friends with Bill Binney and others at the top of NSA. We have every single email, text, call, and banking transaction going back 15 years. I used to be focused on traders. This includes all of the representatives of the British government, including MI6 and MI5, that are actively working with rogue elements of the CIA and the FBI to frame Americans for murder, like my friend Chris Fogarty, who wrote a book on the Irish famine. The British murdered 5 million Irishmen to steal their food with 67 regiments. Okay, do not underestimate the degree to which the British Empire has been screwing the American Republic since 1776. Do not believe for a minute that China, Iran, or Russia are our enemy. I believe that President Trump, President Putin, General Secretary Xi Jinping, and I will tell you frankly, because I had something to do with it back in the day, the Supreme Leader of Iran are on speed dial. Everything you're being told by the media, by the government, by the universities, by the churches, by the labor unions is a lie. And that's one of the reasons I brought John Petersen to this stage. Because we literally are just at the beginning of restoring human knowledge. For the past 100 years, they've been dumbing us down and drugging us up. And you are our Bunker Hill. You are our moral compass, and you are our intellectual foundation for reopening everybody's mind. And if you haven't read Martin Geddes' book, Open Your Mind Change, which I wrote the foreword to, I recommend it to you strongly. So let me finish up for today with the idea, in fact, there are two. There's a lot of good in Utah. There's also some evil. But there's a lot of good in Utah. And Brigham Young University, and CIA loves Brigham Young University because it delivers people who speak a foreign language and have been overseas. They do have a drinking problem. A more perfect union. Miracles, in God we trust. I wasn't naive when I started this tour. It's a God thing. I was unemployed on Social Security in my wife's basement. I gave her the house 10 years ago. I cleansed myself of all property, took no paycheck, have no pension. And then I had dinner with Juan O. Savin in the Trump Hotel. Not his real name. Kind of a 4-star equivalent undercover presidential agent. Juan and I have had a lot of fun together. And he said to me over dinner on the 7th of March, Robert, wouldn't it be cool if you put together a convoy and we're at Mount Rushmore on the 4th of July? Yes, Juan, that would be really cool. He wrecked my life. I I've been doing 16-hour days, 7 days a week, and when I finish speaking here, I have to go back to the coach and deal with the minutia. But no disrespect is intended, and I will not do pictures while other speakers are speaking. So we'll finish this program, and then I'll be back there from 12 to 2, and then from 4 to 6. But what this is really all about is doing to the present federal and state and local governments what the Founding Fathers tried to do to the British government in 1776. I don't want to abolish the government, I just want to clean it up. And the way we clean it up is by starting at the school board level. I was watching on live stream when the representative was speaking about getting back into the school board, and she's absolutely right. Only you don't go to a school board meeting by yourself. You go with 200 other people that you've agreed with the day before. Then you fire the school board. Same thing with commissioners, county commissioners, and we're lucky to have Commissioner from Rex from Elko County. I was inspired also to do this tour by Sheriff Richard Mack. And by the way, I urge all of you to join the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. Sheriff Mack will be manning a table back by his coach back there for the rest of the day. And you should certainly do that. And more importantly, you should all vet your sheriff. He provides something for you to vet your sheriff, and you should be going to your sheriffs and saying, and I think I'm done. You should be going to your sheriffs and saying, you absolutely need to be a constitutional sheriff. So faith, family, and freedom, for me, is what all of you have to demand. And you have to start at the local level. I will just end by saying, in case some of you aren't back tonight, we're starting a new organization, 99 versus 1. That organization will offer 200 million citizens a chance to organize. We will not monetize those emails. We will not exploit those emails. What we will do is we will point you like a gun at every school board, county commission, state legislative hearing, federal hearing. And I believe that by 2024, we will be completely back on track. And you should not be giving any donations to any politicians who do not agree to sponsor #Unrig Election Reform Act, which is the heart of how you take back the power. I'm going to go watch my hog films now. Bye-bye.
Robert David Steele.